What's going on, Whisper Nation? That's Big Travy. I'm Johnny Game Time Hicks, and we got a special guest on today's show that, if you follow us, you're definitely familiar with. That is Austin Cyr. He does the Whisperspectives. He is here today to jump in, give commentary on one of my favorite shows that we do all time, and that is mock drafts.
Who doesn't love him?
I thought for sure Travis was going to jump in there with something to back me on up. Welcome, Austin, to the Fantasy Whispers. I guess we should say that. We are the Fantasy Whispers. We are doing a mock draft. If you like mock drafts, or if you just like listening to guys talk about sports, please hit that subscribe and that little bell button, and we will bring you lots of new and awesome content throughout the summer leading up to your drafts. So you'll want to follow us again. That is the Fantasy Whispers. You can check us out at www.thefantasywhispers.com. All right. Are you boys ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Let's jump in to this mock draft.
We're over here logged into the Sleeper app, formerly known as the Sleeperbot. Right now it's Sleeper. We're going to do our mock draft on this platform because it's the best one out there right now. We're doing a half-point PPR format. Standard player options in here: 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, a kicker, and a defense.
3 wide receivers.
3 wide receivers.
Yeah, we're getting a little
modern NFL.
Getting a little frisky.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
we're
love
going
it. Modern
with
NFL.
the widespread offense here.
Air raid.
Yes.
Bring it.
Hey, hold on, but Austin, I don't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to, before we jump into this, I always like to ease on into this conversation here.
I thought it was frozen.
So, wow. All right, so hold on. Did you guys see the Jamaal Charles? He retired. He announced his retirement, and he took the last handoff as a Kansas City Chief today. Did you see this video?
It was like a ceremonial handoff by Patrick Mahomes.
Which means nothing because they never played together. It's
Yeah.
nonsense.
Right. But
Where's Alex Smith? Bring him back on one leg.
Yeah, that's right.
Bone sticking out still.
Did you guys watch the video?
No,
all the
Jamaal
way
Charles
to-
goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the handoff there.
Right. Well, what happened was he was doing his fake run, and then he tweaked his hamstring, and it went down. And
He did?
Did that really happen?
No.
Oh my God.
I just
Never been assigned to retire.
yeah.
Never again. Not even for posterity's sake.
But I just want to give, in all seriousness, Jamaal Charles was so fascinating to watch. It was Austin's boy. Austin.
Yeah, I
was
was just going to say, it's great that Austin's on this show the day it happens, because there was probably no Jamaal Charles believer or truther like Austin in our league of record.
I picked him up in the 5th overall pick, and he was the only player to get over 300-something points that season. That was that was the first modern-day running back, do-it-all type of guy. The guys you see right now, the Todd Gurleys, who are getting 20-plus touches and all these receptions, the Saquon Barkleys. Jamaal Charles was doing it before any of them.
Yeah.
And arguably, even still, he was doing it better than anybody's doing it even today.
Yeah, he was so efficient. So efficient.
Correct me if I'm wrong. He still leads the history books in most yards per carry at over 5 yards a carry. And we're talking about a dude who just retired.
Yeah.
This isn't like that Jim Brown era where you're playing with dudes who are drinking a beer before the game. Like these are modern athletes, modern preparation, and he was just obliterating them.
Yeah, I think back to that game that really stands out is that Oakland game. I forget what year it was, but it was just in Oakland. I mean, they played him twice a year, so obviously it could have been a number of games, but it was just this game, and I think he had like 3 long screen passes for a touchdown, and he just demolished them. It was an incredible game. Jamaal Charles.
I think you're thinking of Doug Martin.
No.
Doug Martin did it. Yeah, Doug Martin did do that.
I'm not thinking about Doug Martin. Not in Jamaal Charles's breath.
You think of Doug Martin more than his mother thinks of Doug Martin.
This is true. Which the Raiders just re-signed Doug Martin, by the way. All right, so that I just want to ask you guys. I just want to bring that up.
Says that like it matters.
Yeah, right. Okay, so like we said, we're doing a mock draft here. The trick here is that we don't actually know what our pick is yet. Austin is going to give us our picks, and then we are going to get started here. So, Austin, you wanna tell us what we all want to hear?
You two are going to be starting on opposite sides of the board. Johnny 1, Travis 12. You're going to get those back-to-backs. That's how we're going to do it.
All right.
Say no more, fam.
All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start this draft here. I think, let's see, begin draft. All right. So, very first draft here, you got to go with Saquon. I think.
You do?
Yeah, here's the thing with Eli, Mr. Checkdown, and then let's say they do get the rookie in there. Guess what? His average depth of target is 6 yards. He's going to be dinking, dunking just as much. So I like Saquon. He's going to be the focal point in a PPR. I'll take Saquon.
I can't wait to see Saquon get all of the yards, just shy of a first down, and then punt it all the time.
No third down conversions. Although Golden Tate's there, so
they
I
played
could
better
see-
without OBJ.
see some
look at this.
stuff going down there.
Odell-
Gettleman believes that too.
Yeah. Odell Beckham, number 2 overall pick.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some computers smoking some.
Sleeperbots be sleeping.
Maybe they're trying to
Falling
tell us
asleep
something we
on
don't
us.
know.
Maybe they're, yeah, I don't know. It's in the air, right? We saw the Giants make a crazy pick with Daniel Jones coming up here. We see the Raiders do crazy things ever since they've been a team. Who knows? It's interesting, though. I'm not shocked if Odell Beckham earns that spot there, but that risk is not built in at the number 2 pick. That's wild. I love Ezekiel Elliott there going back. Computer made a bunch of moves. That's what it did there. Travis on this backside. Let's see what he did right there. He ends up going with Dalvin Cook and David Johnson. I love those 2 picks. You got 2 3-down backs over there. Dalvin Cook slipping this year. Not at that pick right there, but you got to love it. It's going to be a high-powered offense in Minnesota. He's got the ability to be a 3-down back, and not just one of those, but a breakaway 3-down back, one of those guys who can take it to the house on any play. Fun fact about Dalvin Cook last year, he clocked the quickest land speed time in the NFL.
We're talking
Wow.
over guys like Tyreek Hill, like Leonard Fournette, who had it before
2 years ago.
So, I do love that about him. He's obviously explosive. I love David Johnson here, too, because of the revamped Cardinals offense, that air raid style. We talked about it at the top of the show a little bit, air raid. So, in honor of that, I picked David Johnson. And Dalvin Cook, the pick for me is they invested in the offensive line, and they didn't invest in any real running back depth behind him. So, they want him to be the guy. I'm pretty sure on those 2 guys coming out as RB1s at the end of the year.
I love those first 2 picks right there, and I think it's best on the board as well. So how is Johnny going to pair up Saquon Barkley with the next 2 guys? That's the big question we're looking at right now.
So I know normally in a PPR league, you don't generally do this. You don't generally go back to back. Where Travis went with the Dalvin Cook and David Johnson, I like both of those because they're going to be PPR studs. But ironically enough, Le'Veon Bell fell to me in the second round. And normally in a PPR league, I wouldn't consider going running back often. But in this scenario, you can't pass up Le'Veon Bell. You got to take him here. He's going to be with the Jets. That offense is going to be much improved. I know what Austin's thinking right now. He's like, you took the 2 New York running backs who aren't on the fanciest offenses, but you know what? Give me volume. Volume is key in this, and guess what? They both are going to catch a ton of passes out of the backfield.
Turn that volume up to 11. Too bad there is silence coming out of the speakers, but it's really loud silence. So that's great. No, I do like that. I think the Le'Veon Bell pick there, you see in some mock drafts him going in middle of the first round. This is not the Le'Veon Bell we saw with the Steelers. He could be great. We're saying he's got a year of rest on his body. Yeah. Maybe he picked up a year of rest in Miami. I think that's a fine idea there.
If you're in Miami, are you resting?
I've never rested in Miami.
How many times have you been?
You rest in Orlando.
How many times have you been in Miami?
Yeah. I've been to Miami 3 times.
Okay. Wow.
I only rested when my body made me.
Yeah. When it shut down.
Yeah, if you want to rest, though, you could go up to Orlando over there. So jumping ahead, though, on this one, really quick on the Le'Veon Bell, that's great, but he's not in Pittsburgh anymore. We know that the Pittsburgh system creates great running backs. James Conner, no offense to him, but that system is really showing that you are going to score, get yards, get all that stuff. We'll see how Le'Veon Bell does. I think it's one of the most interesting storylines this year in fantasy football. A.J. Green, Johnny pulls in there with his start of the 3rd round. A.J. Green, man.
So, well, here's the thing.
Can't knock it. Love it.
I was deciding between George Kittle there and AJ Green, but considering that it's a PPR, I wanted to get that, I anchor wide receiver, I like to call it. So I took AJ Green there, best available on the board. He's still the number one. He's getting older, but he still produces.
But he's still not at that age yet. He's on the right side of 30, I'm pretty sure. And he's got best route running, get all those 50-50 balls. Andy Dalton has a love obsession with him. Like, that's a good spot to be. So looking over at what Travis did here, why don't you tell us about your 2 picks here, Zach Ertz, Cup?
Yeah, so I initially wanted to go back-to-back wide receiver here to kind of fortify the wide receiving core. Obviously, there's 3 wide receivers in your starting roster, so it's important. Looking at the field, though, I wasn't in love with guys like Calvin Ridley, Corey Davis, DJ Moore. Did love Cooper Kupp. I think with a healthy year, we've shown the chemistry he has with Goff. Had he not been injured, if you extrapolated his stats over last year, he would have finished as wide receiver 2 in standard scoring, wide receiver 3 in PPR, and then Zach Ertz. I mean, that's the money pick for Philly. We know he ends up year after year as the number 1 receiving option in Philly, and in a half-point PPR, I love it. So that's what I was going with there.
Any temptation to take Derrick Henry over Kupp?
A little bit had I not started running back, and it being the half-point PPR mold. I know they want to build this offense around Henry, and I know they are saying that, but years of tradition have showed us they get a late start in Tennessee doing that, so it's kind of hard for me to take him there over trying to get a piece of more receiving options.
Fair enough. All right, on the turn here, we got Johnny with the 4th and 5th round picks. Let's see what he's going to do. He's going to pair up with AJ Green, Le'Veon Bell, and Saquon. What you got, Johnny?
All right, so I'm going to go this one. I got to go with Mr. Blessum here. I'm trying to decide between Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry. I love my Cleveland Browns there. There is a lot to go around as far as, a lot of mouths to feed, but I do like Jarvis, what he showed. He's still going to get 100 targets, 100-plus targets this season, and so getting Jarvis Landry to pair with AJ Green, I really like that combo. And then this is going to be real crazy here, but there's some really
how crazy? Show it
really great value right here when it comes to the running back position, and I do have another flex, and so for me, right here, sitting in the 5th round, beginning of the 5th round, give me a guy Travis and I were just talking about, Damian Williams. He is going to be a stud muffin, and I want him on my team to pair just in case Le'Veon Bell doesn't pan out the way I expect him to. And
I love that Damian Williams pick, because we just talked about James Conner and the system that the running backs production in Pittsburgh's system. Kansas City is another one of those teams.
Yeah.
We've seen Sharkhandrick West. We've seen Spencer Ware. We've seen Mr. Champion and king of special teams and everything else over Jamaal Charles right there as well. So Kansas City produces
LaShawn McCoy, even in Andy Reid's days in Philadelphia. So like he continues to create running backs that are special, and obviously he uses the ones that are special in their own way to their best of their abilities. But yeah, Damian Williams did everything he could to earn the job last year. They didn't bring in a ton. Yes, Carlos Hyde is there, but I don't have, he has also been on 4 teams in the last 5 years. So like, I'm not, in love with Carlos Hyde there either, but they didn't do anything in the draft to scare you that they were going to replace Damian Williams. I love Damian Williams.
And Andy Reid's never gone with the running back by committee approach. He has always stuck with one guy.
He likes the one guy.
And it's a Kansas City offense. That's great.
Yep.
So I would be shocked if Damian Williams doesn't continue to creep higher and higher on the ADP as the actual season gets close. But where you got him right there, that arguably a steal. So we got Travy here then going with Mark Ingram, leader of the Baltimore running back committee. Does any of those extra hands back there scare you, or Lamar Jackson's inability to throw a ball?
Yeah, a little bit it does, but nobody. Only Seattle ran more than Baltimore last year. A lot of that obviously is on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson, but they've fortified that line over the last couple of years, and I really like Mark Ingram's ability here. So I'm confident in that. Need to get some more depth at running back. So Mark Ingram's a starting running back on a team that loves to run. And then I'm going to go with Tyler Boyd here with my next wide receiver.
I love that pick.
Let me ask you guys a question here. Would you rather take a strong number 2 on a good offense or the number 1 on a not so good offense?
It depends. It depends on, like, if you're telling me Aaron Rodgers or Tyler Boyd in this case over Larry Fitzgerald, I'm taking Tyler Boyd I guess that's not really a good fair comparison because Larry's a little bit older in age. I guess I would say,
I mean,
like,
to Johnny's point, I think it does have to do with the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
So if your number 1 is, you're not a high volume offense, say the Seattle Seahawks, right?
Right.
Seattle Seahawks,
Perfect.
low volume offense, but they're paired with a really good quarterback. You're going to take that 1 over maybe a good, 2, if you know who that 1 is.
Right.
But in a sense of Tyler Boyd, he's got a good shot at being the number 1 by the time the season's over, and so. That's a situation where Tyler Boyd is like one of the cream of the crop number 2s in the league.
And I like that situation when you can find a number 2 that has a real shot to emerge as the number 1.
Yeah.
Yep.
See those with Aaron Rodgers receivers all the time. If you go 5-6 years back, Cobb was being taken way later, but was competing with Jordy Nelson.
Yes.
For those spots. If you can find,
you even had years of James Jones being there as a number 2 guy
or
that was,
with Pittsburgh, Juju Smith-Schuster and
Yep.
Antonio Brown in years past, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, same kind of thing
Yeah.
over there. So, okay, interesting
right.
pick there, Johnny. Here at the turn, what do you got?
So I'm going to go. I'm trying to decide between 2. So, but I'm going to go Alshon Jeffrey because I need to get some more wide receivers. Obviously, so Alshon Jeffrey gets a lot of volume. I like his pairing there, the way he's with Carson Wentz. I'm actually going to take a deep dive here, a stab. First one. This is what I recommend. At round 7 is when I start to like to gamble a little bit more. You could take a little bit more because if you whiff on it, it's just a 7th rounder, right? So I'm going to go N'Keal Harry, my boy from Arizona State, pairing with Tom Brady. I think that he is going to be a stud this year. I think he's going to be Tom Brady's number 1 wide receiver.
Johnny, I've known you a long time. You know I love you, right?
Yes.
I don't like that pick.
Here comes the fire.
See,
Get him.
I don't like that pick at all. There are rookie receivers, historically speaking, are so inconsistent, so rarely produced. We can count on hands how many 1,000-yard rookie receivers that we have seen. We're also talking about the New England Patriots. He is not a sub-6-foot wide receiver. He has not been in that system that long. I just don't see this kind of production coming to fruition, not in year 1. Now, if they develop a connection, that's great, but I would really feel more comfortable seeing what happens in training camps. We are doing this right now in the month of April. It is the month of May now. So we'll see. But I know how much you like N'Keal Harry, so boy, go
here's
get him.
Here's what I'll say. I understand what the stats say about rookie wide receivers. They're more miss than hit. But what I will say is, 1, they drafted N'Keal in the first. 2, a lot of what's different about those rookies and stuff, they don't have Tom Brady throwing them the ball. And number 3, tell me besides Julian Edelman who the New England Patriots are throwing the ball to. James
They
White?
don't even know yet. It's going to
James
be
White.
So it's James
people on
White.
staff.
So you're telling me that there's going to be 100. I mean, how many targets did Gronk have alone? So
Yeah.
N'Keal Harry has the talent to be a top wide receiver. So and like I said, this is my 3rd. Could be my 4th. I'm about to draft a couple more wide receivers here, maybe a tight end. I'm up right now as we're speaking, and so I just like it. It's a stat. I like the dart throw there. I mean, the other person to be honest, it was between Tyler Lockett and N'Keal Harry, right at that position, which is crazy because Tyler Lockett ended up going at 7'11", which is a little crazy.
Always open.
Always open. Oh,
I like Lockett this year. I like that one. You don't know what's going to happen in Seattle, and Russell Wilson does wild things all the time. Lockett busted out last year as a top 15 receiver, and he's got that breakaway speed. I like his play style for fantasy purposes. DK Metcalf's over there, but once again, rookie receiver issues. I'm a big fan of Lockett this season.
All right, so I'm just going to take it. Okay. I am going to go with.
Yeah, no.
While you're thinking about this one, just touching over here what Travis had gone with.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
David Montgomery and
love that
Sterling
pick.
Shepard. I love that Sterling Shepard pick, especially over there.
Yeah.
You get that number one wide receiver over there. He's got to throw it to somebody. I like it. They paid him.
Yeah. They paid him. Not saying I have a bunch of trust in David Gettleman and what he's doing in New York, but they did pay him, and they paid him a pretty hefty contract and said, "You're our OBJ now." So for me, Sterling Shepard was a kind of a no-brainer for I would say my wide receiving core is not the strength of my team right now, but I needed some balance, and so I've picked a lot of guys that should be consistent and consistently getting me points. And then David Montgomery was just kind of a feel-good pick. This is a guy. Look, Chicago came into the draft with only 5 picks, and then they said that running back was not a priority for them. They had picked up Mike Davis. Even after trading away Jordan Howard, they said they were good with what they had. They moved up 14 spots to draft David Montgomery, 14 spots to pick up a guy that Nagy has now compared to Kareem Hunt. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I do think that it's possible that rookies fail at their role of being crowned the next whatever guy. But I think Nagy doesn't do what he does unless he believes that he's going to be the guy. And in a PPR or a half-point PPR format, I love what they're going to try and do. Tariq Cohen, I hear the argument of Tariq Cohen, but nobody had more fumbles in the league than Tariq Cohen last year.
And they did reach up to grab this one here. And to that rookie point, I don't really believe in that rookie point when it comes to running backs. Running backs, if you get the touches, you're going to be able to do it. We have seen a lot of rookie running backs make huge impacts
right away.
Fantasy teams right away. And the talented ones do, whether it's Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, Saquon Barkley. These guys come in. It's a little bit different of an experience than wide receivers when they're in that rookie season. So I love that one over there. That's cool. All right. So, Johnny, you ended up going with D.D. Westbrook over here.
Yeah.
Bulls has to throw to someone, right?
Right.
Yeah, but are you ever going to know which guy that...
Well, I mean, we didn't before, but the thing with Nick Foles is he does actually target guys in the slot, and he does end up having a go-to wide receiver. Now, is that going to be D.D.? A lot of people are speculating it is going to be D.D. Am I so sure about it? Not 100%, and a little bit because I think Allen Hurns has, or sorry, not Allen Hurns. What's the other wide receiver there?
DJ Shark.
Not DJ Shark.
Lewis.
No. Why can I not think
what's
of
his name?
Keelan Cole. Keelan Cole. So Keelan Cole, I'm a huge fan of. But I mean, everything. D.D. Westbrook is a very good wide receiver. He's out of Oklahoma. He played in that same style offense that is super explosive. We can see what he can do, and so I'm gonna gamble that it's D.D. Westbrook again. PPR. I think that he'll have value in the slot, and then so with my turn here.
Just a point on D.D. Westbrook there. I think that if you get news out of Jaguars camp that Nick Foles loves a certain guy, if it is D.D. Westbrook, I feel like you can trust that. With other quarterbacks, they're going to spread it around. He might lock into D.D. Westbrook, and then that would be your bet there. And the run on quarterbacks happened. I was just eyeballing some, and
wow, look at that 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I wasn't so Jameis Winston, Matt Ryan, Mitch Trubisky, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson, and Dak Prescott all went in the 9th round, and Travis is up. So I wanted
Drew Brees.
Wow, look at that. How did Drew Brees fall past all of that? There's no way.
Like Lamar Jackson cracks me up a little bit.
That's exciting. Lamar Jackson's fun. I get it.
Yeah,
it is fun.
He's gonna run it,
especially with Marquise Brown. Like if he can make that work, I know he's only gonna get like 4 or 5 targets a game, but like
they're gonna go right into the dirt, dude. what? There's
they will, but we're talking fantasy football, not real football on this one, and we even saw him season coming in, have some games where he's going to win you some. He's going to win some of your matchups. On this one, it's another year in the system. They're building it around him. Flacco is gone.
I just love.
I'm excited. I like that one. I'm definitely taking him, but over a Jimmy Handsome or something like that. I'm taking him above Jameis Winston, who I have zero faith in. Drew Brees is very safe. His ceiling isn't as high as some of those other guys, but to get him at the end of the quarterback run, choice.
So, all right. So
Darrell
Travis
Henderson.
So Travis picked. Here's what I was gonna say, and for me at this point, this is gonna be crazy because I realized my mess up here. I'm going to acknowledge the N'Keal Harry, although I do think that N'Keal Harry is gonna be good.
Sure,
Looking
me too.
at the draft board, and this is why we love to mock draft because it shows us some things that we might not have seen. But
Look into the fire.
exactly, and I didn't want to say anything because Travis was up, and I didn't want Travis saying him, and I don't normally advise for this, but in this case, the value is just so good. It's just
The suspense is killing me
it's just
here.
so good. Somehow, some way, Julian Edelman is available in the 10th round at the end of the 10th round, people. Yes, I'm going to take him. I know I have N'Keal Harry, but Julian Edelman in the 11th round, people, this is ridiculous. He's going to be a PPR monster. He continues to be. Guess what? He's not suspended for the first 4 games this year. So give me some Julian Edelman.
You know I love you, right?
Yeah, and you're going to love that pick.
I like that pick.
Yeah. All right, and then I'm going to back that up. I'm going to go ahead and back that up with this next best pick because, look, while all these people, listen, I understand you're sitting over here, you get this nice, cute little run at quarterback, and everyone's scrambling, trying to get their guy. I get it. I understand. And you're sitting there. You're just like, oh, no, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you a guy that has higher upside than all of those guys that went in that round, and I will even say has top 6 upside, and that is the new guy in Arizona, Kyler Murray. I'll take him.
You couldn't
in
have
the 11th
telegraphed
round.
this anymore.
That's right. My team is just looking so dandy.
Just
right
for
now.
context, if you're scrolling through YouTube and you're watching this video and it's June or July, just stop watching now. Okay, it's May. We filmed this right after the draft, so there's obviously you could tell by Johnny's team, it's full of guys that just got drafted.
I see multiple Cardinals logos in his shot right now.
Listen, I only drafted 1 Cardinal first off, and second of all, I only have
you
one
drafted
rookie.
the wrong Cardinal.
Ooh.
1 rookie. What do you mean the wrong Cardinal? What?
David Johnson. I got the right Cardinal.
Oh, who has to get him the ball? Exactly.
You don't get points for handoffs.
He's the quarterback now,
It's
dude.
me throwing him. Dude,
I think Kyler Murray, though, that is, I am not surprised if Kyler Murray does have a similar to RG3 rookie season.
Yep.
And RG3 is rookie season, rookie of the year rookie season, ahead of Andrew Luck, deservedly so as well. He was a real fantasy football quarterback.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray has all of those makings. He's got the coach who's going to cater to the way he plays. They're going to go down the field. It's going to be high risk, high reward. Kyler Murray's the right guy for it. I hope that the Cardinals win more games. I think they will. I think that this could be a fine fantasy football quarterback. I'd like to see another more consistent quarterback as well on your team at some point, but that's a fun one.
Well, I saw there's still Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger on the board, but here's what I'll say. What we've seen from the quarterback position, when you look at a lot of these quarterbacks that are consistently in the top ranked, what you notice about a lot of them is they have that rushing ability, and that's what makes. I mean, even Dak for the longest time, he was a very solid quarterback because he had the 6 rushing touchdown floor, and so
that floor comes up. All these running quarterbacks, it's the bread and butter of why you want them.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Lamar Jackson, who doesn't throw at all. Averaged really good points down the stretch in the games that he started last year because of the rushing floor.
Right. And so looking over here now on Travis's turn, speaking of homers, Marquez, Valdez, Scantling.
Yeah, for sure.
Then Deontay Foreman.
Yeah, so I was looking at Valdez Scantling and Emmanuel Sanders and some guys there at the wide receiver position, and I figured if anybody's got a shot to rise above here, obviously that nasty Achilles injury for Emmanuel. Otherwise, I'd be really confident Emmanuel, he probably wouldn't be here in the 11th. But Marquez Valdez Scantling has a good shot as anybody, Geronimo Allison, Equinemius St. Brown, any of these wide receivers to be that number 2 for Aaron Rodgers. And we've seen what a good 1 and a good 2 can be for Aaron Rodgers in fantasy. So I'm going to take a stab at Marquez Valdez.
What about my boy Geronimo?
I like Geronimo, but I believe he's off the board already. I think but like I said, I think he's on even playing field with him, because I think with a year under his belt, getting the tools he has physically, the breakaway speed, I like him. And then Deonta Foreman, obviously coming a year and change removed from that Achilles, but the Texans didn't draft anybody else. They didn't bring in anybody else. So this is another guy who's got a real shot at taking over the backfield by the time the year ends.
It's going to happen.
And
at some point.
Yeah. And I think, Lamar Miller, as much as he's trying to do his Frank Gore impression, I think eventually is on his way out.
Fair enough. Johnny over here on the other side, Jared Cook. I love this pick. I think Jared Cook is a real talent. I think he's one of those true receiving tight ends who's good enough at blocking that you're going to keep him in all the time, every spot on the field, every down. And we have seen what Drew Brees is capable of doing with a real tight end, going back to those Jimmy Graham days. I like Jared Cook. Is there any other reason why you took?
Well, just the opportunity, and frankly, at this point in the draft, if you looked at the other tight ends available, it's slim. But I'm okay in a normal draft. That's kind of what that was kind of my idea the whole time, is wait on tight end, get Jared Cook at the very end. And like you said, we've seen tight ends produce. I mean, even Watson was producing in this, and Jared Cook is a notch above his talent. So
definitely,
I really like the tight end here. If I'm waiting on tight end, I'm going to go Jared Cook this year.
Like that. And then the other Minnesota Vikings, solid defense. You got him at a decent spot over there.
Yeah, I just thought I'd jump ahead here and pick up a solid defense. The guy that I'm actually eyeing will to draft, take a stab at this late. I know we'll be there in the next round. So, actually he won't. He just got drafted.
You want your guy, you got to get your guy.
Well, here's a question I got for you guys. Okay, so the guy I was talking about is Jalen Samuels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I almost took him last round.
So here's what I find interesting. I'm a big believer in James Conner. Well, more so like I hope it happens because he's on my keeper team, and I for great value. So I need him kind of to work out. But Jalen Samuels comes in, does a very nice job at the end of last year when James Conner got injured. And then here's what's interesting. Over the offseason, the Pittsburgh Steelers brought in Jalen Samuels' running backs or coach from tight end coach, bring him in. And so I just find it odd and a little bit mysterious. It gives me that pause and that concern about drafting James Conner, frankly, in this next coming year, because Jalen Samuels showed, and like you said earlier, that Pittsburgh's a system type of offense. You can plug any running back in there, and they're going to produce. So what are your guys' thoughts on Jalen Samuels? Are you going to take a stab at him at the end of drafts? We've seen it before that the Pittsburgh Steelers generally don't use an RBBC. Please, God, don't let them start using an RBBC. But what do you guys think?
I mean, you hit on the point there. You talked about the coach they brought in. For me, it was the running back coach. It wasn't the tight ends coach. So that's why people are a little more scared.
That's right. Yeah.
The only reason I didn't take Jalen Samuels here, I took Deonta Foreman instead, because I think the path is better for Deonta Foreman, given the history of Tomlin only choosing one running back.
I concur.
Yeah.
Do you concur?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like it.
Concur?
Yeah, concur.
We concur.
Big Ben over there. That's a safe fantasy staple. We've seen that year in, year out. Antonio Brown leaving. I'm not concerned about that at all. Obviously, Travis is not either. LA Chargers defense. That is a sneaky pick down there. We've got a lot of talent there. They underperformed somewhat last year. That's a great system. They got playmakers on the board. I think I'm happy with them as my defense, especially picking them up. And you grabbed them in the 14th round?
Yeah.
Tight.
Yeah.
Geronimo Allison there.
I gotta steal. He was. Yeah. So I'll say this: there's no way that Geronimo Allison is going to be there in the 14th round.
I don't think so either. Because
he was.
Yeah. I will say I was looking for him earlier
because I think that Allison is going to be popular.
Oh, yeah, he for sure will be
10th round.
Geronimo Allison, people forget when he went down
14th.
last year. He was in the top 20 of receivers when he went down. He had a couple weeks in. He was the number 14 receiver.
Yeah,
as well. I know this because my hot take at the draft last year was he's going to be a top 15 receiver, and
he was on his way.
He was on his way.
And here's the thing. Here's why. Here to I'm sorry, Travis, but I'm going to contradict you here. where Marquez Valdez-Scantling, the reason why I'm not a believer in him over Geronimo Allison is when you look at when Geronimo Allison went down, Aaron Rodgers was looking for MVS to take that next step, and he didn't. He couldn't.
He was a rookie receiver, yeah.
And so for me, I think Geronimo Allison has the trust of Aaron Rodgers, which we know is key. And so and we know the number 2, just like Travis said, the number 2 wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers will produce for you. It's just getting the right one. And for me, it's definitely Geronimo Allison. I kind of stole him there from Travis, but I don't feel bad about it.
That's a good one right there. And you see, there's a handful of quarterbacks in the system. You're actually going to have 3 receivers who are going to be successful. And in a traditional Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers offensive aerial attack, you're going to have 3 receivers who are going to help you eat week in, week out. Harrison Butler there, kicker. Or Butker, excuse me. You know this one. We made a trade last season,
Yeah,
Johnny.
we did make a trade. Gosh, you were so stubborn. That was the hardest trade deal. And it didn't even help me. It didn't even help me. It actually
helped me.
Yeah, it helped you
me
a lot.
Yeah, it did. It was fantastic. We made that 15 minutes before the trade deadline. It was like 11.
That was the greatest trade deadline ever in our history.
Yeah, it was hot.
There were so many trades that went down, and I was wheeling and dealing. I made 3 trades that day.
I like that kicker you took there. And closing it out, Chris Boswell, another Pittsburgh player.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get that double dip, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He's missed a lot.
Ben Roethlisberger to Chris Boswell. I'm just trying to get, 4 points or 5 points for every touchdown or 7, depending on your. So
you're going to have those weeks when Pittsburgh is putting up.
Well, here's the thing.
Points
he misses a lot of field goals.
I've hedged my bet here. If you believe that Antonio Brown is such a, and don't get me wrong, he's a great wide receiver. If he's such a step back for Pittsburgh, they take a step back because Antonio Brown's gone. I think Boswell eats then a little bit because they're not converting as much. 15 touchdowns last year for Antonio Brown. Mm-hmm. So, like, if some of those come back and Boswell's out there kicking field goals.
The only thing I'll flag here for the listeners on a Pittsburgh system, on a Mike Tomlin system, is those gentlemen, they like to roll that dice.
Yeah,
they go for 2 all the time.
Yeah.
And Heinz Field is one of the most difficult stadiums to kick out of.
Yeah.
You look at what the record kick out of there is. It's one of the lowest in the league. The field is oftentimes tore up. It's windy. It's weird weather. You got a system that they like to go for 2 all the time. It's a risky pick. The system is great. They just don't like to kick the ball that much.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. You need to drop your last pick right now. Don't even wait.
Well, speaking of you just ripping.
7th pick,
dang.
Ooh,
Coming in with the
I
fire.
mean, I had already said I was going to drop that guy.
Speaking of just dismantling our team with your words.
Yeah.
Luckily, mine was only my kicker, and kickers aren't people, so it doesn't matter.
Round.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a look at both of our teams here, Austin, and tell the Whisper Nation, tell us who do you think got the edge here?
Sure, let me do a quick breakdown on these ones over here. So we're going to go look at Game Time's team right here, rundown. We've got Saquon Barkley, Le'Veon Bell, AJ Green, Jarvis Landry, Damian Williams, Alshon Jeffrey, N'Keal Harry, Dede Westbrook, Ronald Jones the second, should be a junior if you're a second, I don't like that, Julian Edelman, Kyler Murray, Jared Cook, the Vikings defense, Geronimo Allison, Harrison Butker. Running back formation, Saquon Barkley, Le'Veon Bell. On paper, that's got to be the best running back combo in this league right there. That's a good one right there if they hit their ceilings on it. Damian Williams, I love that one there, rocking that in the flex. AJ Green, solid as they come, wide receiver. Jarvis Landry, that's a little bit more of a volatile player. We don't know how it's going to come in with the emergence of OBJ. It's a second-year quarterback. It's a new head coach. Could be great. It could be not so great. I know that you dropped Jarvis Landry last year, Johnny. And
Mr. Bless him.
We'll see.
And it almost killed me. It almost killed me in the first round of the playoffs. Again.
Alshon, then your third wide receiver there, Alshon Jeffrey. I'm a big Alshon fan. N'Keal Harry, you'll drop him after a few weeks. Dede Westbrook probably as well. Julian Edelman, though, is solid. I like half-point PBR. He's going to feast. Kyler Murray there, high ceiling, high floor pick. That's fun, though. Jared Cook is very solid. Minnesota Vikings defense, for where you got him, kudos. Geronimo Allison, once again, where you got him, kudos. Your 13 and 14th picks were fire. And then Harrison Butker, it's going to be the kicker on one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. You always want that. Kansas City's not an easy place to kick out of either, but it didn't mess with him last year. His percentage was crazy high.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. Okay, so that's the rundown there. I'm going to do a rundown of Big Travy's as well, and then I will give my final ruling on which team is going to advance further in the 2019 fantasy season. Okay, so Travy over here, anything you'd like to say about your squad? Or Johnny, after I think I want to give you a fair to defend yourself.
Oh no! I mean, I thought the breakdown was good. The only thing I'll say is Jarvis Landry. This will be he has a little bit of time in the system. We saw what he could do at the end of last season.
What system? It's a new system.
Yeah, but it's not. It's the same head coach.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
So, and we saw that in those games, Jarvis Landry had 11 targets. I believe like 10. I know he had 11 in one of the games, and he had a lot. So, and I understand OBJ's there, but he's more of the possession guy. OBJ is the deep guy. So, and they played in college. OBJ and Jarvis, they both went to
Nike commercial. Did you see the Nike commercial?
That was so cool.
I bought Nike stock after I saw that commercial. I loved it.
As you should. So yeah, but I think that this is actually one of the best drafts that I probably have ever put together in my entire life.
Wow.
And so yeah.
Well, that's great. I mean, you got a great comment out of Austin. Your 13th and 14th picks were fire.
Yep.
So
hey, you win. That's where you win the draft, man. That's where you win the draft.
Johnny's best draft was a draft in which his 13th and 14th were his best picks.
They were good picks.
They were good picks. All right, Travis, I want to hear about I want you to talk about your team. But what about your team?
What do you think?
I just wanted to go balance here. I wanted to get weapons. The only time I feel like I really took a stab at something drastic, and it's not even that drastic, was taking Ertz in the third. I felt like that was a break from the norm of what I wanted to do for this draft. And you can see how my wide receiving core probably took a little bit of dip throughout the draft because of that. But I thought I was able to scoop up some guys that should consistently play. And I'm really happy with my running back core here. And two quarterbacks in high-powered systems to go ahead and balance those two out, I feel like really rounded my team out. So
let's take a look at that team. We're going to run it down here, starting off with Dalvin Cook, David Johnson, Zach Ertz, tight end from Philadelphia, Cooper Kupp, receiver for Rams, Mark Ingram, running back for Baltimore, David Montgomery, Tyler Boyd, Sterling Shepard, Drew Brees, Darrell Henderson, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Deontay Foreman, Ben Roethlisberger, the Chargers defense, and Chris Boswell.
I do just want to throw in something about Darrell Henderson. Sorry. I love my Darrell Henderson pick here. It might be a little bit too early for some people's blood, but there may, in recent memory, I can't remember a more high-profile running back than Todd Gurley with as much injury concern as him based on the arthritis in his knee and uncertainty going on. And Darrell Henderson, we talked about him in our rookie prospect episode. This guy looks like he is just
good.
Yeah, he just looks like when you watch him run, he is insanely good. He looks like he is meant to play running back in the NFL. And so I'm really excited about what Darrell Henderson could be. And I strongly suggest Whisper Nation, do your homework on Darrell Henderson, watch our prospect video, and really watch his film and look at scooping him up later in rounds. Because
the thing that concerns me, though, about Darrell Henderson, no knock on the talent. The Rams are a high-powered offense. I'm real nervous about Todd Gurley as well. But the Rams paid Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, they matched the offer sheet.
But then Henderson revealed himself in the draft, and I'm just saying.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Rams moved up for Henderson.
Yep. They did.
I get what you're saying there. They matched the offer sheet. They like Malcolm Brown. He showed out.
They got three good running backs. It's a great team. It's a great offense. But
I agree. But if Henderson is what I think he is on film, he is going to show that out in camp. And if there's anything going on, we've seen that McVay wants to use one back. So
man.
I like it.
Anyways,
here. So let's see what we got here. We got Dalvin Cook, David Johnson. Oh my gosh, I love those 1-2s. The only 1-2s, Johnny and Travis's 1-2s over here. Fantastic. Dalvin Cook and David Johnson. Real nice picks there. Zach Ertz, staple of the system. It's a tight end early, but you get one of those. You get one of the big three over there like that. Cooper Kupp, if Cooper Kupp hits where he's supposed to be, that's going to be great. But this kind of actually goes right into a question that I had asked earlier in this is, would you rather have a number 2 on a good system or a number 1 somewhere else? And where I got to be critical on this one of where you got Cooper Kupp here. I'm looking at who else was available on that board. And you didn't even have to get wide receiver 1s on poor systems. You could have gotten a couple of wide receiver 1s on pretty good systems. I'm looking specifically at Sammy Watkins and Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson, we know what he's capable of. He looked pretty healthy. Another year in Nagy's system. I think it could be a good player there. But Sammy Watkins has an ability to be a top 10 receiver. He is the number 1 if Tyreek Hill is gone on arguably the best offense in the league. And Sammy Watkins was a top 5 NFL draft pick. And when he's healthy, he's a stud. And if you can get a stud receiver on the best offensive in the league, he could be a second-round pick next year.
Yeah, you talk about his draft stock being top 5, but Cooper Kupp was a top 5 fantasy wide receiver when healthy.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
And he is also on a really great offense. Sure. And so for me,
almost as good as the Rams, almost as good as the Chiefs.
Like just right there. I mean, they're like neck and neck.
But would you rather have the one, or would you rather have the...
I'm not so sure the narrative isn't, we want Sammy Watkins to be a stud, and he continues to never be that guy. How long till we stop giving him credit for who he's supposed to be and then who he ends up showing up? But I did look at Sammy Watkins. I'll give you that. I really like him this year, especially because, Tyreek Hill is gone.
Presumably,
95% chance he's gone.
Yeah.
And then Sammy Watkins should step into a role. But once again, it's a should thing where I've looked at Cooper Kupp. I've seen the connection he has with Goff. I see that he can play every position on that offense as far as wide receiver is concerned. And I'm just a believer in Cooper Kupp.
No knock on Cooper Kupp over there. Just looking, it's kind of a philosophical question.
For sure.
Which would you go with there? Mark Ingram, if Mark Ingram does what he should do in this space, could be great. You're looking at a 10 touchdown kind of guy, 1,000 rushing yards. That's solid there. Tyler Boyd, great talent. I think they're going to be throwing it quite a bit. I like Tyler Boyd over there. David Montgomery. We talked about David Montgomery. Like that over there. They went up and they got him. Good thing there. Sterling Shepard is of your receivers there. He might be my favorite one there just because of the system. He's a decent talent. Number 1 system over there. For receivers, talent is more important than I'd say role. Unlike running backs, I'm taking a system player over a talent in the running back. We're not talking running backs. We're talking wide receivers there. Sterling Shepard, that one's real nice. Drew Brees, where you got him at the end of that quarterback run. We're talking about a Hall of Famer who didn't really show many signs of slowing down. High offensive powered weapons over there. Kamara, Thomas, Sean Payton, all good stuff. Darrell Henderson, if it hits, it hits.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see how the knees and Todd Arthritis Gurley are doing. We're going to have to see how Malcolm Brown's feeling after his injury. That could be a steal there. You could get a starting one of the best running backs and one of the best offenses in the league. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, talked about that one. Could be with Aaron Rodgers. Geronimo Allison's the preference over there right now, but we'll see how that shakes out. Deontay Foreman, if he takes that role, stud. Ben Roethlisberger, pairing him with Drew Brees, one of them is going to get you 15 to 30 points each week. Chargers defense, love that pick. Chris Boswell. Well, there's a lot of kickers around, so. So now what am I got who I think is going to go question.
That is it.
Let's see. I'll break it down each by quarterback between the two. I got to give this nod to Big Travy on this one. Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Kyler Murray. It's just such a dart throw, but I don't hate that at all. We're talking fantasy football.
Yeah.
You can stream quarterbacks. Dudes are going to emerge. No worries there. But so we got a point for Johnny over there. Running backs. Let's see. Travy, Dalvin Cook, David Johnson, Mark Ingram for his big three. Johnny, Saquon Barkley, Le'Veon Bell, Damian Williams. Ooh, man, this is close. This is so close. If we're talking about playing 3 running backs, though, I got to give a nod over to Johnny. Because
I actually concur with that. I mean, Johnny's got the better stable of running backs. But I like what I did to stack behind my 3 to like one of those could pop. But Johnny, right now, these are all thoroughbred ones in their offense on high-powered offense. Well, one high-powered offense.
2 legit.
I was like trying to make the case. Like,
Yeah. So they're close. I love the talent. Yeah, I got to give the nod to him because of that Damian Williams pick. You got an Andy Reid running back on a high-powered Chiefs offense. Like that one there. Receivers now: Cooper Kupp, Tyler Boyd, Sterling Shepard. For Big Travy going against AJ Green, Jarvis Landry, Alshon. Going to Johnny on this one because of the number ones. AJ Green, Alshon Jeffrey, and then Jarvis Landry for me in that order. I'd like over Cooper Kupp, Sterling Shepard, Tyler Boyd. Higher ceilings over for Game Time's picks on those ones. Tight end, I don't even have to look at Johnny's. The answer is Travis. He has Zach Ertz. That's one of the best tight ends in the league. Jared Cook, though, is a solid fill-in, especially considering where you got him. Great value pick there, but the nod goes to Big Travy, hands down. We got left kickers. Kickers defense. We'll just pair those two up together. Chargers and Boswell with Vikings and Butker. You know, I like the Chargers defense over Vikings defense. I like the Chargers defense over that one.
Have you seen the Vikings defense?
I have. I don't care.
Purple People Eaters Part 2.
Just because Austin's got a man crush on Joey Bosa.
Yeah, I can sense that.
I'll take it, though. Listen, you got to know your audience. You got to know your moderator.
Because Butker himself will score more than the Chargers defense this year.
Butker's a great pick, especially where you got him right there. Chris Boswell. It's on paper, it's fine, but I'm just nervous. Heinz Field. I'm nervous about Mike Tomlin's system. I'm sure that there's other solid kickers there, though. Slight nod to Game Time on that one, and putting that all together, I gotta give the edge Johnny Game Time Hicks on this draft. It's not by a lot, but it's Johnny.
What do we call this? Mockomania?
Knock your mocks off.
Knock your mocks off. There you go. The first
New Kids on the Mock.
I like that one. The New Kids on the Block. All right.
So
Mock-a-doodle-doo.
So Austin gives it to Johnny. Whisper Nation, we want to know what you think. Look at what happened here. Get down in those comments. Tell us who won this mock draft, the mock off, if you will, and let us know in the comments below. Also, if you want us to let us know how Austin did moderating. We'd love to hear that feedback as well. We thought he did great. We had a lot of fun tonight. And then let us know if you've got a different style of mock draft you'd like to see us do. Super flex, 2 QBs, full point PPR. Anything you guys want, you comment below. Let us know. We'll get that done. As always, you can check us out at thefantasywhispers.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at The Fantasy Whispers. I love you guys. Austin loves you. For Johnny Game Time
I love
Hicks,
you so much.
I'm Big Travy, and we're out.
About it.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Fantasy Whisperers podcast. You can hear more from John and Travis on Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at TF Whisperers.